in my last video, I built a DIY test bench. Now I built this out of a old, pretty crappy Leon Lee case I had lying around the house, and it really wasn't much good for anything else because it was missing the front plastic and it was pretty old and very dirty. In the video I showed you how I flipped the motherboard tray upside down and riveted it back onto the case, creating the basis for our test bench. And since then, as you can see, I've painted it bright red. I'm not a big fan of the colour, but it doesn't really matter. Now before painting the case, I gave it a really good clean using grease and wax remover. I then painted it using around 1.5 cans of epoxy enamel spray paint. Now I haven't painted using epoxy enamel before, so just a word of warning if you're planning on doing something similar, that stuff is very messy and sticky, and even though I thought I did a pretty good job with protecting the area in my garage using big pieces of cardboard, it still ended up all over the floor and on my shoes and up my nose because, yeah, by the way, always use a respiratory mask when you're painting, particularly with that stuff. I didn't, and it gets everywhere. In general, the painting went really well and I was very happy with the result, which was a nice and smooth surface, and it had no runs that I could find in it anyway. That was until I put the final coat of paint on. When I did that, the can of spray paint was running low, and I think that might have had something to do with it, but what happened is I sprayed this area across this motherboard tray, and it came up with a whole heap of bubbles along here. I then tried to wipe the paint off straight away, but when I did that, it actually took a lot of the other good paint with it. That also happened on, you probably see it, on this surface here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not too fussed about this piece though, because that's actually going to be covered by the plastic cover that goes on there. Well, actually I think it's a metal cover from memory, I think. But anyway, that'll be covered, so that's not a big deal. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a bit of a ripple through here, and that's where I'd sanded that surface down and then repainted it, and it's just, there's a bit of a mark between the good paint and where I put the original good paint that I'd sprayed on and the section I'd sanded off. So now that the painting's out of the way, let's put this thing back together and have a look at the end result.
So here's the finished case, guys, and I actually think it came out really good. I was a bit worried about the red, but it actually looks really nice with the black pieces on it. So up here we've got 60 gig SSD. It's an old Corsair one I had lying around. That's for the boot drive. And under there I've got a 500 gig hard drive, which I actually got for free, and that's probably just big enough to put a few games to benchmark on. You can see here, just put some thumb screws on that so you can get them out quite easily. Rubber grommets in there to stop any vibration. These dust filters are reversed, so I've fitted them on the back, on the inside of the case instead of the front. I just think it looks a lot neater. I've got the Antex power supply. Can't remember the size of that now. I think it was 650 from memory, 650, 700, something like that. Probably about the only other thing I'll do to this is just tidy up some of these cables a bit, do some cable management in there. But other than that, this is looking like it's done, I think. I am happy with that.
Thanks for watching this video on the DIY test bench. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed building it, and I hope to catch you in the next video.